It's Randy Orton. Oh,
I have voices in my head. They counsel me. They understand. They talk to me.
Hey guys, how's it going? Mr. Pete Lennon, and today I'm just going to be doing my predictions for NXT Takeover Brooklyn and Summerslam 2015, because both are over this coming weekend, so I thought I'd do some predictions. I'll start with NXT Takeover Brooklyn. What I'll do is, there are 10 matches that have been announced, however I think 4 of them are going to be on next week's edition of NXT, not actually on the Takeover special, but I thought, just for fun, I thought I'd predict them anyway. So we'll just start with the matches that I think will be dark matches and will be aired on NXT. Carmella versus Eva Marie. I'm going to go with Eva Marie here, because they're building up Eva Marie on NXT as maybe as a contender for the women's title in the future. I'm not too sure. But yeah, Eva Marie's just come to NXT. They're trying to build her up, and I think a win against Carmella will help her on the way to the top. So I'm going to say Eva Marie here. Next, Bull Dempsey versus Elias Samson. Bull Dempsey, I think, will win this just because they've been doing those like 80s like workout montages with Bull Dempsey. And they did the whole fat gimmick and him being out of shape, and then him training, getting back into shape. So I think he'll beat Elias Samson here, and I think Bull Dempsey is going to be a babyface due to these like kind of build-up promos, due to the promos and stuff portraying him with the kind of workout montage stuff. So yeah. Next, got the Fatal 4-Way match. Becky Lynch versus Charlotte versus Dana Brooke versus Emma. I think it will be either Becky Lynch or Charlotte that will win this 4-way matchup, because they're they're on the main roster now. Going to try and just build them up for the future. So I think I'll just say Charlotte, just because the WWE seem to like her the most out of the up and coming divas that came from NXT. But I wouldn't be surprised if Becky Lynch won either. But I'll just go with Charlotte on that one. A match that is an 8-man tag. Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley, the Hype Bros, teaming up with Enzo and Colin Cassidy versus Jason Jordan, Chad Gable, Scott Dawson, and Dash Wilder. I'm going to go with the Hype Bros and Enzo and Cass because it's in Brooklyn, hometown of Enzo and Cass. I think they'll get the win. They probably won't pin Jordan or Gable because they're a new tag team and they're trying, I think they're trying to get them over. So I reckon Enzo or Cass will get the victory, will get the pinfall on either Dawson or Dash Wilder. Now we're going on to the main card, what I believe will be on the main card. Apollo Crews making his debut, formerly known as Uhaa Nation. Never really seen him on the indies, to be honest. I don't watch a lot of the indies. And he's supposedly taking on Ty Dillinger. At least that's what it says on Wikipedia. But I wouldn't take that to word. But if it is Ty Dillinger, it doesn't really matter, because I still think Apollo Crews is going to go over here because, well, it's his debut and they want to showcase him as kind of the future of NXT, I assume, since considering some guys are leaving and whatnot. So yeah, I'm going to go with Apollo Crews to win over Ty Dillinger. This next match, I think, is probably going to be the hardest match for me to predict. Baron Corbin versus Samoa Joe. I honestly don't really have a clue who's going to win this. I mean, both guys... Well, Samoa Joe's fairly new to the roster. He debuted at Unstoppable. Corbin has been getting a push. He's only been beaten, I think, once in NXT, and that was by Neville, at least on TV anyway. He may have been beaten a couple more times, I'm not sure, but that was one loss that I remember. I'm really not sure here, because I think both guys kind of need a big win here against the top. Need a win here. I think I'll go with Baron Corbin, but I wouldn't be surprised if Samoa Joe won. But I just think, considering it's the first match of the feud, usually the heel will go over, so I'll just go with Baron Corbin. Next, we'll look at the Tag Team Championship match. Blake and Murphy taking on the Vaudevillains. I'm honestly not really that hyped to see this match, simply just because we've seen this match on NXT already. I know, granted, there was a bit of a fuck finish with Alexa getting involved and whatnot, I'd rather just see Enzo and Cass, especially since they're the hometown guys. It'd be great to see them face Blake and Murphy, win the tag titles, and it'd be a great moment for that team. But no, we got the Vaudevillains for some reason, and they were saying how they were going to bring in someone to prevent Alexa Bliss from interfering. This is from what I've heard. Like, apparently on WWE.com or whatever, the shop website, they've released a blue pants shirt. So I could see the Vaudevillains bringing in blue pants to stop Alexa Bliss from interfering and whatnot. So I think that's probably what they'll do. If not, then I honestly don't know what they'll do to do it. Maybe they'll bring in another diva, who I really don't know. But I'm gonna go with. I think I'll still go with Blake and Murphy though. Simply because I just think they've got more in the tank. The Vaudevillains are actually kind of an overact in NXT. They don't really need the titles to be over. But I think Blake and Murphy, ever since they've won the tag team titles and turned heel, they've really kind of got a lot more heat in recent months. So I'll go with Blake and Murphy. Next is Jushin Thunder Liger, making his WWE debut at the ripe old age of 50, taking on Tyler Breeze. This one, it really could go either way, I think. This is probably the second hardest match to predict, in my opinion, from this NXT show. I think I've heard a lot of people say Tyler Breeze to go over. I'm just going to go with Jushin Thunder Liger in the sense that it's a one-off showcase. It's probably going to be his first and only match. I know it'll make Tyler Breeze look like a bit of a fool losing to Jushin Thunder Liger, but this is Jushin Thunder Liger. He's a big name in Japan. A lot of the crowd will know who he is, and I think him beating Tyler Breeze won't necessarily hurt him that much. I can see why people would think that, but I don't think it'll completely bury him. I think these guys can have a solid match. I know Thunder Liger's not in the prime of his career anymore. The guy's, I think, 50 years old, but I still think they can pull off a solid match, especially if Breeze becomes the ring general, takes lead. It can be a really good match. Next we have the women. So Jushin Thunder Liger took over. Sasha Banks next, defending her women's title against Bayley. Obviously Sasha Banks came up to the main roster with the women's title, which was kind of a surprise. But they did it with Kevin Owens, so it wasn't as surprising when they did it with Banks, because they'd already brought up Owens when he had the NXT title. But I think since Banks is going to be on the main roster is now on the main roster, I think this will be one of her last matches on NXT. I think she'll drop the title to Bayley, and Bayley will probably carry the women's division with future feuds with the likes of Eva Marie and whatnot on NXT. So I'm going to go with Bayley to win the women's title. The main event here, the ladder match for the NXT title. Sorry, can I start again? That was a bit of a tongue twister for some reason. The second ladder match in NXT history for the NXT title. Wasn't so hard to say, was it? Finn Balor, the champion, defending against Kevin Owens. Fun fact: this is not really that important, but I only found out recently that I actually share a birthday with Kevin Owens. So fun little fact there for you. So I'm going to go with Finn Balor to retain, simply because I think he only won the title last month, and I think WWE has a lot of we're going to push Balor as the next guy in the future maybe, and I think also they're going to want him to have a kind of a long NXT title reign while they get more guys in like Apollo Crews and guys like Baron Corbin, Samoa Joe, as building them up as the next, and Hideo Itami obviously as the future opponents for Balor. I think Owens is probably going to be one of his last matches, and then he'll stay on the main roster, not really return to NXT. So I'm going to go with Balor to retain the NXT title. So that's my NXT Takeover Brooklyn predictions. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll move on to SummerSlam now. So we'll kick off the review with the match that I'm just looking so forward to. Another classic, a rematch from SummerSlam 5 years ago. The classic, best feud, the feud of a generation, Randy Orton versus Sheamus. I mean, granted, they did have a solid matchup at Battleground, but honestly, it's not going to get much better than that, is it? I mean, they had a good match at Hell in a Cell back in 2010, but a lot of their TV matches and pay-per-view matches have been pretty underwhelming, and their SummerSlam matchup from 5 years ago was pretty boring, if I'm being honest. Just, you know, if you want to go to bed, great matchup, really. But I'm going to go... I think I'll go with Randy Orton to win this matchup, because I'll talk about them in the title-for-title match, why I think Sheamus won't go over here. Next, got the IC title triple threat. Ryback versus Big Show versus The Miz. I'm going to go with Ryback here, simply because I just think Ryback has just come back from his injury. I think they're going to want him to hold the IC title for quite a while, you know, try and bring back some quote-unquote legitimacy, even though he won't really, to be honest. But I think WWE have a lot of faith in Ryback, and they probably will want him to hold the IC title for quite a while, so I'm going to go with Ryback there. Next, Stephen Amell and Neville taking on Stardust and King Barrett. Stephen Amell and Neville, I reckon, will go over. I mean, teams with a celebrity on it, you know, they always go over. I reckon, obviously, Amell will get the pinfall on Stardust. He'll, I don't know, do something impressive. Not much else to say, really. We'll then move on to Dolph Ziggler versus Rusev. This is a bit of a tough one, because Ziggler just came back, you know, from filming a movie. But Rusev, I think if he lost here, he'd lose a lot of momentum, losing to Ziggler. So I think I'll go with Rusev, even though Ziggler just returned to WWE. So yeah, I think I'll go with Rusev, because I think it'll help continue the feud, and Rusev's momentum will just be killed if he loses to Ziggler here. The tag team title match, Primetime Players versus Los Matadores versus the Lucha Dragons versus the New Day. Don't know why the hell Los Matadores are in here. Any sort of big man tag, they're just thrown in there for some stupid reason, even though they've lost to the New Day very recently, and they lose pretty much all the time on television, so don't know why they're in here. But I'm going to go with... I think I will probably go with the Primetime Players. Primetime Players to retain. I think they might give the Primetime Players a fairly long championship reign. I can see that happening, really, to be honest. So I'll go with the Primetime Players. Next, we have Team Bella versus Team Bad versus PCB in a triple threat elimination match. I think the rule is if one member from a team is pinned, then the whole team's eliminated. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's the rules of this matchup. I'm actually going to go with Team Bella to win this, simply just because I think over the past, since the NXT Divas have come to the main roster, they've looked pretty dominant over the Bellas. So I actually think the Bellas will get a cheap win here to kind of continue the feud, in my opinion, just because they've looked pretty bad over the past few weeks. So I think a win here would kind of help their momentum a bit. So I'm going to go with Team Bella to win this matchup here. We'll then go on to Kevin Owens versus Cesaro, which I think will be match of the night. I think it's going to be an amazing matchup. I just can't wait for it. I'm going to go with Kevin Owens to win here. I think since he's losing on the NXT Takeover special, in my opinion, I think they'll probably want to give him the win here to, you know, to kind of keep his momentum. I just realised I've been saying momentum a lot in this review, but that's kind of what wrestling is. A lot is about momentum. But I'm going to go with Kevin Owens here. He's kind of a guy who needs to win, considering he lost the last two pay-per-views to John Cena. Cesaro's very over as a face, and I don't think a loss here will really kill his, kind of popularity with the fans. So I'll go with Kevin Owens to win, but I think Cesaro will put up a hell of a fight, and he'll get a lot of respect from the fans. Next tag team matchup. A third of the Shield, so Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns taking on a third of the Wyatt family, Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt. I'm going to go with a bit of a bold prediction here, but I will say that Wyatt and Harper will win, and Dean Ambrose is actually going to turn heel. I mean, I wouldn't personally do this, but I just think the way they've been angling is, you know, how Reigns and Ambrose are like, you know, best friends, and have been, you know, they seem all buddy. I think Ambrose will turn heel. I don't think he'll join the Wyatt family, but I think they might start an Ambrose and Reigns feud in the autumn and winter of this year. As something for Reigns to do. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper victory here. We then move on to the United States title and WWE World Heavyweight title matchup. John Cena versus Seth Rollins. Should be an awesome match, no doubt. No doubt in my mind. But I'm scared. I'm not going to lie, I'm scared. Because I know it's going to happen. But Cena is going to not just tie Ric Flair's world title record, he's going to smash it. And he could win this match. He could win the WWE title and walk out of SummerSlam with both titles. I don't doubt WWE doing that for a second. However, I think Sheamus will cash in here. I think Sheamus will cash in. However, what I think they'll do is they'll have Sheamus cash in, but he'll only win the WWE World title because in the contract it says for a world title match, so he wouldn't win the US title. He'd only win the world title. So I think Cena will keep the US title, but Sheamus will cash in and win the world title because I just don't see Sheamus like holding the title. You know, when else is Sheamus going to hold the title? I don't really see him doing it going into WrestleMania. I think he'll probably hold it for a few months of 2015, maybe until Survivor Series or TLC. They can put the champion on whoever they want to going into Mania. So I think Sheamus will cash in here, in my opinion. On to the main event now. Probably the hardest match to predict, in my opinion. Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker. Still haven't made it a no-holds-barred match yet, which I'm still hoping that they'll change it, because that would be just awesome. It would make the match so much better, considering the massive brawl that they had. And I loved it when Lesnar screamed to The Undertaker, "Oh, I will kill you," and then Taker said, "Oh, you're going to have to." Just awesome. I think this has definitely been built up a lot better than their WrestleMania match last year. I think it's probably been probably the best built up match on this card. I mean, I actually kind of am looking forward to it, even though it's kind of a lose-lose situation, because if you have Lesnar beat Undertaker, Undertaker's going to look pretty foolish for coming back and, you know, screwing Lesnar out the title just to get beaten again. But then again, if Undertaker beats Lesnar, Lesnar's dominant reign is going to be put to rest by, let's face it, a veteran. And someone who, you know, someone I think a lot younger, maybe an up-and-coming star could really do with that kind of momentum. However, I think one thing that could kind of save this, I think The Undertaker will win this, but I think a way of keeping Lesnar strong is you have Kane come back as the Masked Kane. Kane go back with the mask on. He interferes in the match, choke slams Lesnar, tombstones him, whatnot. Undertaker maybe hits a tombstone on him as well. Basically, the Brothers of Destruction go to town on Lesnar because obviously Lesnar smashed Kane's leg with the steps, so that makes storyline sense. And the Brothers of Destruction reunite and help Kane helps Undertaker win the matchup. Lesnar still, you know, looks fairly strong because he got the shit kicked out of him by two people, and two dominant people in that, especially if you go Masked Kane, not just normal slack wearing, what's his role in WWE? I've forgotten what it is. Is it Chief Officer? I can't remember. You know. So I'm gonna go with Undertaker to win with some interference from Kane. So that's my SummerSlam predictions video. Sorry I kind of rushed it, but I'm just in a bit of a rush at the moment. Barely had time to put this video together, but just managed to find some time now. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe.